All right, good morning, folks. Make sure you are on the same question as I am, so you are taking a moment to answer this. An oxygen 18 atom contains the same number of protons, neutrons, and electrons. In order to evaluate this, you must be aware of how to find out each of those pieces of information. First, you have to understand that O in this case represents oxygen. If you had not known that, please consult the periodic table. Anytime you see a number with a superscript and next to a letter, that's usually a good sign that that is a chemical symbol, especially if it's capitalized. If it's capitalized letter, it usually represents a certain element. If you take a look at the periodic table, you should see that there is oxygen that is available, and its atomic number is 8. So that tells you that the protons for oxygen is always going to be 8. Neutrons, on the other hand, you have to do some slight calculations. You have to take the mass number, which is 18 in this case, subtracted by the number of protons, which is 8. That should give you the number 10. So there is actually 10 neutrons in this case because the mass number was 18. You subtract 8, which is the number of protons, thus leaving you with the number of neutrons, which should be 10. Then you come to the electrons, even though you don't really need to, just as a practice. Electrons are always equal to the number of protons in a neutral atom, which case this is. There's no charge on that, therefore it is the same number as the number of protons, which there is 8. So in this case, it is false because there is 10 electrons in this case. Next up, number 8. You're going through using the periodic table to determine how many protons, neutrons, and electrons each of these elements has. So for example, magnesium is number 12. So you should be able to do number 12 here. The number of neutrons will be the number of protons subtracted by the number of, or the number of mass subtracted by the number of protons, rather. And it will be essentially 24 subtracted by 12, which should give you 12. That's how you get that number. The number of electrons, on the other hand, will be usually equal to the number of protons, which is going to be 12 in this case. We're going to go over here and do iron for you folks. So iron is number 26 on the periodic table. So therefore you would just put it, there's 26 protons. Figuring out how many neutrons there are, you take number 56 subtracted by number 26, giving you 30. In this case, there is a 3+ charge next to the iron ion. So therefore, there is 3 fewer electrons in this case. So you do 26 minus 3 to get you the actual count of number of electrons, which is 23. So hopefully this helps you being able to determine that. I'm going to do one more negative ion so that you kind of get an idea for what it is. So in this case, the oxygen here is the negative ion that I'm going to do chloride. All right, so chloride ion over here, you should be able to find it on the periodic table. It should be number 17 next to argon. So it is 17 protons. Because it has 35 mass number, you just do 35 minus 17 to give you 18. All right, 18 neutrons. The number of electrons, on the other hand, there is an additional electron, so you just do 17 plus 1 to give you 18 electrons. So hopefully this helps out with understanding how to find the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons for isotopes.